Rites of passage I've had my share, with their twisting turns and their long lost
Hi, Christina Ravesi-Weinstein here from The Runner's High, author of Anxious, How to Advocate for Students with Anxiety Because What If It Turns Out Right, from Times 10 Publications, and now CEO of The Runner's High Publishing. Our first book, Little Audie with Anxiety, is set to be released later this year. Life is hard, but it's not complicated. In fact, it's pretty straightforward. Take care of yourself and your loved ones, make a livable wage, and have some fun once in a while. See? Pretty straightforward. But how can something so straightforward be so goddamn difficult? Well, it's like my co-parent and I say to our 6-year-old daughter, stop making simple tasks difficult. But it's a lot easier said than done when you're talking about putting on your shoes or brushing your teeth. Take bills in relationships, for example. They're the adult equivalent of putting your shoes on and brushing your teeth when you're 6 years old. But why is that? Why can't we approach work or breakups like we can tying our shoes or brushing our teeth? Those tasks are second nature. You just do them. You stop making simple tasks difficult. But here's the thing. Last time I checked, you can't really take shoelaces or toothpaste too personally. Work though, relationships, when you've given so much of yourself to something and sacrificed so many other things, it tends to get a little closer to your heart. I was watching a movie recently, The Starling, starring Melissa McCarthy. Don't worry, it's not a typical Melissa McCarthy comedy. I'm not about to start equating explosive diarrhea in the sink while shopping for wedding dresses to life. Although sometimes life is a show.
What did we eat? Oh, the sink's a goner.
What are you doing?
It's coming out of me like lava. We've done. Look at me.
In The Starling, there's a scene where Kevin Kline's character, Larry, talks about how while the rules of nature don't intrinsically fall into the categories of right and wrong, when things are so inexplicably cruel, that's when we take them personally. For me, it was a series of inexplicably cruel events that made my life go from its typical challenging self to impossibly hard. My anxiety was increasing, and so too was my depression. I was irritable, impatient, and irrationally angry. You know, short-fused with my kids, obnoxious with road rage. Everything I was feeling was everyone else's fault, and I was going to let them know about it. Get out of the left lane, you... Stop fussing, Rory. No one wants to hear it. I was an ugly person, drinking to numb the pain and sleeping the day away because I wasn't sleeping at night. Something had to give, so I made a decision so many would find difficult because of what it would entail. I chose to get healthy and be better, but in order to do so, I volunteered to participate in a partial psychiatric hospitalization. I would check in every morning, and if all went well, check out every night. I'd spend the evenings at home with my kids, thinking about all the stuff I was addressing during the day. Walking into a psych hospital every day was cathartic, overwhelming, a rock bottom, if you will. I equated it to the catharsis of walking myself into the ER and sitting on the operating table for my own C-section. You know what you're about to face, the misery and the ugliness of the short term and the hard work you'll endure in the long term. Yet you do it anyway because you believe in the payoff, the authenticity of living a fulfilling and happy life as a parent, or in this case, as a functional member of society. So on May 30th, 2023, I drove to the hospital and embarked on the rest of my life. I was tired of the imposter syndrome. Fill your cup, avoid social media, be present, go outside, conquer your demons like I have. Yeah, right. I was living and breathing dysfunction. What I needed to do was very straightforward, gain perspective. But how I was going to have to do it would be difficult as hell, face every last mistake I'd ever made. On the first day, I was shuffled in and out of meetings, doctor's appointments, and tests. There was a lack of interest, little participation, and self-loathing that could win awards. How'd I get here? Why can't I get out of this? How'd I become so unhappy? Between the daily intentions, functional analyses, and the thank yous for sharing, I was as low as I had gotten. But regardless, I promised myself one thing when I checked in on that first day. No matter what they asked me to do, no matter how ridiculous it seemed, I was going to do it. After 2 weeks, what I took away from the experience was so much more than being able to do hard things. What I learned was that we get used to the gray areas in life. We're driven by the ability to define those things in any way we choose. We can rationalize, debate, learn, and even gain perspective in the gray. But when things are black and white, when they fall into the categories of right and wrong, that's when it's so damn difficult to realize that they can't be rationalized away because they are, in fact, personal. What I had been through was inexplicably cruel, and I had taken it personally. No matter how much I tried to theorize or rationalize, it simply wasn't gray anymore. It was wrong, and it was personal. But you know what else was personal? How I chose to take care of myself. And suddenly, that wasn't complicated anymore. Struggling with something? Go talk to people and figure it out. The lease for your car is about to expire? Find the car of your dreams and buy it. Hard? Sure. Complicated? No. So the day after discharge, I did just that. I walked into a car dealership alone, talked the salesman down $6,000 alone, and bought the car of my dreams. That's how you eliminate complications and simply conquer the hard. That's how you stop making simple tasks difficult. I'm Christine Ravesi-Weinstein. If you're looking for stories and strategies to support anxious students, grab a copy of Anxious from Times 10 Publications. Look for my first release from the Runners High Publishing coming out later this year, Little Lottie with Anxiety. Don't forget to go to my website, www.ravesi-weinstein.com for more information, and follow me on Twitter at @Ravesi-Weinstein. If you're looking for ways to find support for yourself and other educators, consider learning more about my 501c3 nonprofit, Running from Anxiety. And don't forget, you got to get out there and take that risk. Because it's not about what if it goes wrong. It's about what if it turns out right.
Now I'm standing at the gates of Horn, where dreams come true, where dreams are born. And I'll take my leave at the gates of Horn.